This is a video I meant to post a while ago, but I went through so much trial and error with the mount that I had to make for one of the cameras that I was not happy with the footage, but I was able to piece something together so I can post it now. As you can see here, this is actually the AUKEY DR02D. I replaced the A119S earlier this year with it. D meaning dual, for dual camera. So this is the power cord here, and this is the USB cable that is run to the back to my dash cam there. So as you can see, it's actually mounted with a on a bracket there instead of just directly to the window. That's because I have some aftermarket tint and I didn't want to mess that up. Now, unlike the A119S that does 1080p at 60 frames per second, this only does 1080p at 30 frames per second. And that's because it's trying to split those frames between the two cameras. If you were to disconnect the rear camera, though, then the front camera would be 60 frames per second. Now, I'm not going to show you how to install the front camera here because you can watch the A119S video to see how to do all the wiring for that. What I am going to show you how to do, though, is to make a bracket like the one I have back here, which I'll show you up close in a second, so that you can mount your rear camera without having to worry about messing up your window tint. So, all right. And that's what it looks like on the back. All right, so now let me go ahead and play some old footage from earlier this year. I'm not going to go into detail on how to run the wire in this video because you can simply watch the A119S dash cam review video to see how to run the wire from the camera along the headliner and then down the A-pillar to under the dash. Then watch the ParkVision Pro review video to find out how to run it from under the dash along the side of the driver's side door and then up this panel and then into the headliner and then through this long rubber grommet and up to here. Now, I did put some painter's tape on the end of the USB cable to protect the plug itself from getting any WD-40 on it, and then I just hosed both ends of this rubber piece with WD-40, and then it made it so that I could just slip the wire through. It was a little hard to get it through still, but it was a lot easier once you fill it with WD-40. This is the simple custom bracket I made for mounting the rear dash camera on the back window so that I don't have to put the tape for the camera mount directly onto my aftermarket tint. So all I did was I took a piece of 1.5 inch wide aluminum that I got from Home Depot. I cut it down so that it is the length of 9 3/4 inches. And then I have a 1/2 inch long piece here that you can see I have wrapped with tape. Basically, by moving this piece up and down and taping it into place, I can sort of adjust where this mounts, so how high it mounts in the back of the trunk. The trick is that you want to mount it so that the camera is as close to the bottom of the factory tint line as possible, because otherwise you'll have the top defroster line get in the way of the camera view, and it'll make it hard to make out license plates when they're close to the back of your car. So, as you can see though, it's not painted black, but I've actually plasti dipped it. What I did was I went ahead and attached the camera mount first, and then the two wire clips here. And then I wrapped those in painter's tape, and then I plasti dipped it, and then I peeled off any excess plasti dip once it dried. I also put 2 rubber bumpers on here. You'll want to adhere these with glue. If you just push them on with the regular adhesive, the heat's going to make them slide and deform and move around. So you want to actually secure this with glue. So I used Gorilla Glue for these. All right, let me go ahead and mount this into place so I can show you what it's going to look like. All right, I've got the bracket mounted now. I pushed it in so that the edge here ends at about midway on the 6th tint line up. And in order to get it in here, I basically used my panel popping tool to gently pull the metal back just enough to work this edge in, and then I would go to the other side and then work the other edge, and just basically went back and forth, wiggled it down until it was in far enough. You don't want to give too much pressure because you don't want to deform this metal on here, but the pressure from this pressing on here plus the electrical tape wrapped around here will keep this from moving. So when you wrap this with electrical tape, just give it one wrap around. You don't want to make it thicker than it needs to be. It just needs to have that one layer to give it a little bit of friction. All right, so I'm going to go ahead, plug the camera in, make sure that the tint line isn't in the view of the camera, or the top defroster line either. Alright, I'm really happy with the position of the camera. You can sort of see the bottom tint line and the top corners of the picture, but that's not really important that they're there. It also lets me know that the camera is as high up as I want it to be. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to completely eliminate having the topmost defroster line be in the view, but for some reason I've noticed that having the camera up a little bit higher has lessened the distortion of the picture when the license plate is in the camera view close to the car. So this is probably the most optimal spot for this camera right now. Now, as for the wiring, as you can see, I don't have it just running straight back. I have it going kind of off to a curve and then sort of parallel. This is so that it can slip underneath the trim into the back easily without pushing the trim out, and also so that the trim does not pinch into the wire itself. All right, I'm going to go ahead and clean up the back window from all my fingerprints and enjoy having my new dash cam installed. Thanks for watching.